Good morning, good day, how are you doing? This is Tracy Brown. I'm your somatic nutrition therapist, and I have this group here because I love teaching about nutrition and somatic counseling skills. It's my favorite thing to study, to read about, and to practice and to put into order. So I am doing this group so that you all can share ideas, share your frustrations, because none of us were ever given the tools and the education in our undergrads and probably our master's degree programs, if you went that far, to do this work. And so this is why this group is available, because it took me a lot of practice to feel really comfortable in most situations, and so I want that for you too. So if this is your first video watching, welcome. I have had this group running, so this is just December 2018 at this video right now, and I've been doing these videos for about 4 months. So if you want to look back over Facebook in this group and check out all the videos I've done so far, you can. Otherwise, if you don't want to scroll through, you could go to my YouTube channel called Somatic RD. And all those videos from this group get uploaded to that channel. So you can look there and have it all in one spot. So we'll get started. So last week I was talking about intuitive eating with, introducing it to clients and how we do that, or even potential clients and how we do that. And I had 2 other videos that talked about intuitive eating with people who are restricting and intuitive eating with people who are chronic dieters. And I know that it's really important to recognize that people come to us with all levels of ego strength, all different levels of readiness, and the truth is that some people, I'm going to be honest, is that I think all people can be free from eating and weight concerns, but not everybody does, and there's all kinds of reasons. And it's not just because you didn't teach it right or you weren't a good enough counselor or whatever. It's not always about us. No, we all have room to improve our skills, to learn to slow down, to learn to unpack, to look at our own biases. We should all be doing that work continuously. That won't end. But there's some level of not everybody's ready, and some people have external circumstances that make it really difficult to fully let go. And I have a lot of client examples that come to mind around just them in super toxic situations that it kind of keeps them safe until they can get out of it, let's say, or whatever. Or, a lot of our clients come in with not a solid foundation of it feeling safe in their bodies. So being in their bodies can feel so excruciating. So it's not always that you know what's going on with clients unless you get in there and you ask. And again, a lot of these types of clients, it's not going to be just us working with them. Hopefully there's a really good somatic or trauma therapist work with them as well, if that's the issue. So just to set that table. And so for anybody who's just tuning in now, I talked about the warm up to this video. So go back and listen to the first few minutes if you can. All right, so I want to jump into basically intuitive eating with binge eating and deprivation driven eating. And again, those of you who have not taken my non-diet counseling and skills course, I talk a ton about our clients are going to really struggle with full-on intuitive eating, really knowing their signals, unless that's not going to happen unless their deprivation is cleaned up, meaning they're not accidentally or purposely under eating, and at least that they're highly aware of their food rules and their fears about food, because a deprivation comes from fear of not being in control. Some misinformation for sure, but mostly from fear of what's going to happen with their bodies if they let themselves eat a bigger variety of food. So that needs to really be cleaned up for intuitive eating to really unfold, it says it should look in the book, so that's really important to be doing that work. On the other side of it, so when we work with clients who struggle with binge eating, it's really important to understand that, we all know that deprivation, whether it's physical deprivation or mental deprivation, can cause binging. And even in my clients that I work with who don't have any signs, literally they're not under eating whatsoever. They're taking per day more than they probably need on a pretty daily basis. What you're going to find, there's just still a lot of restrictive mindset, and that has to be cleaned up in our clients. That's really, really important for intuitive eating to be more available to them. And then the other part of containment is that what you're going to find is there's still a lot of chaotic eating, usually with binge eating. I rarely find people who, have a breakfast, have a lunch, and then come home and binge all night, and then they do that again the next day. It happens, but there's usually mental deprivation in there, and there's also going to be a level of I binged last night, so let's eat less. And then, granted, they might wake up and they're not that hungry. That's totally true. And some people can maybe skimp on the first meal of the day and possibly not binge that day, but I don't likely see that. So the bottom line is that if your clients are coming in binging, we really, 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 really have to slow them down. That the slowdown is the containment. The slowdown is really check in, and can you get them to check in hourly? Can you get them to slow down and get up more often and just be more aware of their bodies? And that feels like they're going to see that as not being contained, but it is. That slowdown is the containment to help stop the binging. And they're going to want a meal plan from you. They're probably going to give me a meal plan so I can control the binging. And I would just ask, well, tell me how many times you've been on a meal plan, and did I ever control your binging? And usually they're going to say no. And I say, yeah, and I hate to do something to get you right back in that cycle. So are you available, or would you be open and willing to experiment with something different? And that's the one place right there that you want to give them a chance to feel into okay, I can take the risk. But it doesn't mean that we're just here's the hunger fullness chart, go do it. That might be enough for some people, but most people, if they're really struggling with binge eating, need some containment. So you might need to set some ground rules, around not going so many hours between meals. You might need to, when I say rules, it's not really rules, but containment of letting the diet voices be so loud that they cause people to kind of restrict, so they don't they think that if I restrict, I won't binge. Well, that's not going to happen, right? Because we know that when people white knuckle their food, they're more likely, when there's overwhelm in the system, than go ahead and binge. So we don't want to create more of that cycle. So I hope this helps you. It's just one little tip. Think about containment, but not in the typical way they're used to. Is that, regular meals, slowing down a ton, and processing all that, processing what happens in their experience. That turns this into eventually them being more aware and being able to track. And then from that place, they're able to track more their own inner landscape, their emotional experiences, and start to recognize what are the triggers, what I call the glimmers, what are the things that are helpful, and they can, gather some. When I say locus to control, that means okay, I know what I can manage. Not I control my food, but something within them that's okay, I know how to handle this. And that's what we want. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a really good week. Take care. Bye.